The arena is packed, a mixture of excitement and disbelief in the air. The moment has arrived, the moment everyone has been talking about. Khamzat Chimaev, the UFC's unstoppable force, steps into the octagon, his eyes locked on his opponent, Gerald Meerschaert, who seems like an underdog in the eyes of many. But what if this fight is more than just a clash of two fighters? What if it's a story of destiny, one where the rising star and the veteran both find themselves at a crossroads that could change their careers forever? Chimaev's meteoric rise in the UFC has been nothing short of breathtaking. With a perfect record and brutal finishes, he's become a sensation, leaving fans and fighters alike in awe of his seemingly unstoppable momentum. But behind the hype lies a man who has fought with relentless determination to prove himself as the best. His rise wasn't handed to him. It was earned with every punch thrown, every takedown executed, and every opponent he's annihilated. The pressure to maintain this dominant streak is palpable, and in the back of his mind, he knows that one slip-up could change everything. On the other side stands Gerald Meerschaert, a seasoned fighter with experience that Chimaev could only dream of. Meerschaert, the veteran of the cage, has seen it all. His career is a collection of highs and lows, but his resilience has always been his defining trait. Some might dismiss him as an easy fight for Chimaev, but don't let his record fool you. He's been through the trenches and emerged stronger. What many fail to understand is that experience often has a way of turning the tide in the most unexpected of ways. As the two prepare to face off, the tension is thick. Chimaev has been on a tear, but Meerschaert knows that he's not just another name on the list. This fight isn't just about winning. It's about showing the world that experience can sometimes be just as lethal as raw power. Meerschaert's calm demeanor contrasts sharply with Chimaev's intensity, making this clash of personalities as intriguing as the physical battle they're about to engage in. The fight begins, and from the first exchange, it's clear that both fighters are here to prove a point. Chimaev comes out aggressive, looking to close the distance and impose his will. His striking is fierce, his takedowns relentless, and for a moment, it seems like he's about to overwhelm Meerschaert. But then, in the blink of an eye, something happens. Meerschaert doesn't back down. Instead, he waits. He bides his time, his experience giving him the ability to see things others might miss. Is there a flaw in Chimaev's game? A moment of vulnerability? As the seconds tick by, the momentum shifts, and the crowd is on the edge of their seats. Chimaev, for the first time in his UFC career, faces someone who isn't intimidated. Meerschaert's calm approach contrasts sharply with Chimaev's aggression, creating an intense dynamic. Each punch thrown, each movement made feels like it could be the turning point. This isn't just another fight for Chimaev. It's a test of his resolve. Can he keep his perfect record intact, or will Meerschaert pull off the impossible? The fight drags on, each round adding a layer of complexity to the story. The brutal exchanges of strikes, the strategic grappling, and the anticipation build to a fever pitch. With each passing moment, the pressure intensifies. Chimaev begins to show signs of frustration, something that no one expected. Meerschaert, though battered and bruised, remains calm, looking for his opportunity, looking for that one opening where he can turn the tables. And then it happens. A moment of hesitation. Chimaev, so used to dominating his opponents, finds himself caught in a moment of uncertainty. He doesn't see it coming, but Meerschaert does. In that instant, everything changes. What happens next? The fate of both fighters hangs in the balance, and the world holds its breath. This is not just a fight. It's a battle for everything both men have worked for. Chimaev's rise to the top has been swift and brutal, but can he withstand the pressure of a seasoned veteran who has been in the cage long enough to know exactly what it takes to survive? Mearshort's story isn't over yet, and his experience might just be the X factor that turns this fight on its head. With the tension mounting, one question lingers: who will walk away victorious, and who will face the harsh reality that even the greatest streaks can come to an end? The answers are just moments away. In the midst of the chaos, the story behind each fighter begins to unfold. Khamzat Chimaev didn't come from a privileged background. He grew up in Chechnya, a region known for its turmoil, and learned to fight from an early age. His training wasn't in state-of-the-art gyms or with world-renowned coaches. It was on the streets, where survival was the ultimate goal. His journey to the UFC wasn't a clean, easy path. It was marked by struggle, sacrifice, and a deep-seated hunger to rise above his circumstances. As he made his mark in the world of MMA, his relentless drive to prove himself took him through brutal battles. Every win added to his myth, every knockout adding to the legend. But despite all his success, there's something darker underneath. His history, his roots, and the scars from battles fought outside the cage weigh on him. Each fight feels like an opportunity to exorcise those demons, but also to prove that he truly belongs at the top. Gerald Mearshart, in contrast, represents a different kind of fighter, one who embodies the grit and resilience of someone who spent years grinding in the shadows. His path was never about fame or fortune. It was about survival in the cage. With a career that spans over a decade, Mearshart knows what it's like to face adversity head-on. He's had the highs moments where everything clicked, where the world saw his potential, but he's also known the crushing lows, the losses, the near retirements, the moments when it seemed like the dream was slipping away. Yet, somehow, he's always come back, determined to prove that his journey isn't finished. For Mearshart, this fight with Chimaev isn't just about winning or losing. It's about showing the world that experience can still overcome youthful aggression. He knows the odds are stacked against him, but that's never bothered him before. What he's learned over the years is that unpredictability is sometimes the most dangerous weapon in the cage. As the fight progresses, it becomes clear that both fighters have something to prove. For Chimaev, it's about maintaining his undefeated streak, about keeping that momentum going and proving that he's the future of the sport. His movements are fast, precise, and unforgiving. Every strike he lands is a statement, a declaration that he's here to stay, that no one can stop him. But there's an undercurrent of something else, something almost invisible to the eye. It's the pressure. The weight of being constantly in the spotlight, the pressure of carrying the expectations of an entire fan base who sees him as invincible. No one has managed to get under his skin until now. Mearshart, on the other hand, is a study in patience. His movements are slower, more calculated. He isn't looking to win in a flash. He's playing the long game. He's already been in enough battles to know that the best fighters are the ones who can take what's given to them and turn it into something unexpected. His style isn't flashy, but it's effective. He knows how to survive. He knows how to fight for every inch. His eyes never leave Chimaev's, watching, waiting, looking for that crucial moment where he can change the course of the fight. His strategy is simple: absorb the pressure, wait for the mistake, and then capitalize. But Mearshart is no fool. He understands that Chimaev's aggression isn't just physical, it's mental. The young fighter is hungry, driven by something much deeper than just victory. Chimaev wants to break him, not just physically, but mentally. And Mearshart has to be ready for that. From the perspective of the fans, this fight has become more than just a contest of skill. It's a battle for dominance, a clash of two worlds. Chimaev represents the future of MMA, a new generation of fighters who are faster, stronger, and more ruthless than ever before. But Meerschaert is the embodiment of experience, a testament to the value of wisdom gained through years of fighting. The crowd roars with every exchange, some rooting for the young, unbeaten force, while others cheer for the underdog, the one who survived it all. The tension builds in waves, and for a moment, it feels like the entire world is holding its breath, waiting for someone to make a mistake. Outside the octagon, there's a subtle but important subplot playing out. Chimaev's rise to the top has been swift, but it hasn't come without its share of controversy. His brash personality, his confidence, some would call it arrogance, has rubbed certain people the wrong way. Critics argue that he's been too fast to rise, that his strength is built more on hype than substance. But Chimaev is unbothered by this criticism. He knows that the only way to silence the doubters is to keep winning, to keep proving them wrong. But there's another layer to this pressure. Every fighter who faces him now doesn't just want to beat him. They want to expose the cracks in his armor. They want to show the world that the myth of Chimaev can be shattered. Meerschaert, though, isn't concerned with Chimaev's reputation or the way people talk about him. For him, this fight is about legacy. It's about proving to himself that he can still hang with the elite. It's about making sure that after all these years, he's not just a name that people remember from a fight that happened long ago. This is his moment, and he's determined to make it count. But there's another thing at play: his personal life. His family. His coaches. His supporters, all of whom have seen him at his lowest, watching with anticipation as he enters the cage one more time. For them, it's a moment of redemption. For Meerschaert, it's more than just about winning. It's about validating everything he's worked for. As the rounds tick by, the fight begins to take on an unexpected rhythm. Chimaev's energy, once so explosive, starts to wane just a bit. Meerschaert's resilience, however, only seems to grow stronger with each passing minute. Chimaev lands a powerful strike, but Meerschaert absorbs it, never breaking his composure. There's a dangerous pattern forming. The more Chimaev pushes forward, the more Meerschaert learns. He's not just waiting for his chance anymore. He's studying Chimaev's every move, dissecting his opponent's strategy, finding the flaws in the young champion's approach. But Chimaev isn't done. He's still a force to be reckoned with, and it's clear that no matter how much pressure is mounting, he's not going down without a fight. Every exchange is a battle of wills. Every move is a test of who can outlast the other. With the tension at its peak, one question remains: will Chimaev continue to ride his wave of invincibility, or is Gerald Meerschaert about to pull off the unthinkable? The crowd's excitement is palpable, but underneath the roar, a silent tension brews between the two fighters. Chimaev, the young phenom, has faced adversity before, but something is different now. His usual pace is slowing. His punches don't seem to carry the same weight, and his movements are a little more labored. Meerschaert, meanwhile, continues to absorb the pressure with a stoic calmness, his experience shining through in every step. It's almost as if he's been here before, weathering storms and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Chimaev's dominant aura, the thing that made him a sensation in the first place, seems to be slipping away as the fight stretches on. Then, it happens, a moment of pure chaos that no one saw coming. Chimaev lunges in, going for a takedown, his body leaning forward just a little too much. Meerschaert, ever the tactician, uses the opening to his advantage. With a sharp, calculated movement, he locks Chimaev into a submission hold that catches the young fighter completely off guard. The arena falls into a stunned silence as Chimaev struggles, his usual dominance nowhere to be found. For a moment, it seems like time stands still. Will the rising star be defeated by a move that many thought was well beyond the reach of someone like Meerschaert? But even as Chimaev fights the submission with everything he's got, the unexpected twist isn't just about the fight itself. It's about the psychological battle that's unfolding. Chimaev, who spent his entire career proving that no one can touch him, suddenly finds himself in a vulnerable position. His eyes flash with a mix of confusion and anger, as if this reality, the one where he's not in control, is a foreign concept. The mental strain begins to show, and for the first time in the fight, cracks start to form in his steel-like composure. Meerschaert sees it. He feels the opening. His hands tighten around the submission, pushing for a victory that would defy the odds. Every inch he gains, every move he makes, feels like the culmination of years of hard work, of sacrifices made. The veteran is fighting for something deeper than just a win. He's fighting for respect, for the validation that he never got from those who wrote him off. On the other side of the cage, Chimaev's fans are in disbelief. They came here expecting to watch their hero continue his relentless assault on the UFC. But now, as the seconds tick by and the submission tightens, there's a shift in the air. The supporters are no longer certain of his victory. Could this be the end of the undefeated streak? Could this be the fight that exposes Chimaev's vulnerabilities for the world to see? Behind the scenes, there are whispers of another factor at play, one that's been influencing Chimaev's mindset throughout the entire build-up to this fight. His camp has been under more scrutiny than ever before. Pressure from the UFC to keep the streak alive. The expectations from fans who believe he's destined to be the next big thing in MMA. Chimaev, though outwardly confident, has been wrestling with the weight of these expectations. They've been gnawing at him, pushing him to take bigger risks and chase bigger wins. But with Meerschaert's experienced hands around his neck, that weight seems heavier than ever. There's a moment when Chimaev's eyes meet his opponent's, and for the first time, he's unsure. Meerschaert's expression remains unreadable. He's been in tough situations before, and he knows that Chimaev is no slouch. The younger fighter is still dangerous, but Meerschaert's focus doesn't waver. He tightens the hold, never letting up, each second feeling like a lifetime. As the submission inches closer to its climax, the audience holds its breath, knowing that this moment could rewrite the narrative of the fight entirely. Will Chimaev tap, admitting defeat for the first time in his career? Or will he somehow break free, showcasing the toughness that's made him an unstoppable force so far? As the tension reaches its peak, the unexpected happens. Just when it seems like Chimaev might be about to submit, he finds a burst of energy. With an explosive surge, he twists his body, shifting the pressure back onto Meerschaert. The crowd erupts as Chimaev manages to escape the submission hold, flipping the situation on its head. It's a breathtaking moment of raw strength and determination, but it's clear that both fighters are running on fumes. This isn't just a physical battle anymore. It's a mental war, with each fighter trying to outlast the other. And yet, there's still something lurking beneath the surface. Meerschaert's calmness may seem like an advantage, but it's also a mask, hiding the toll that years of grueling fights have taken on him. He's taken his fair share of damage in this fight, and while he's holding on, it's impossible to ignore the wear and tear. His body is starting to betray him, his movements becoming just a fraction slower. Chimaev, though visibly fatigued, can sense the shift. The energy in the arena is palpable, and the momentum seems to be swinging back in his favor. But does he have enough left in the tank to finish what he started? Or is this fight already slipping through his fingers? The stakes couldn't be higher. For Chimaev, it's not just about keeping his undefeated streak intact. It's about proving that he can handle the kind of adversity that comes with being the top contender. For Meerschaert, it's about proving that experience, grit, and heart can sometimes outweigh raw talent and youthful energy. As the two fighters move closer to the final stages of the fight, one question hangs in the balance: who will push through the pain, the doubt, and the pressure to claim victory in this unforgettable battle? The tension between the two fighters reaches its breaking point. Every movement, every step feels like it could be the last. Chimaev, still reeling from the near submission, has regained some composure, but it's clear that the physical and mental toll is catching up with him. His breathing is heavy, his strikes less fluid, his takedowns not as sharp. Meerschaert, though equally worn, shows no signs of slowing down. The years of experience, of having fought through worse, have steeled him against the pressure. There's a quiet confidence about him now, as if he knows that the final moments of this fight are his to control. The fight enters its final round, and the stakes could not be higher. Chimaev knows he can't afford another mistake. Every ounce of his body screams for relief, but he pushes on, forcing himself to move forward, to attack. He launches a flurry of strikes, trying to break through Meerschaert's defense, but the veteran stands firm, parrying with precise movements, waiting for his moment. It's almost like he's daring Chimaev to overcommit, to let the desperation take hold. And then it happens. In a rare moment of impatience, Chimaev throws a wild punch, one that leaves him open for just a fraction of a second. Meerschaert doesn't hesitate. With the precision of a surgeon, he counters with a vicious hook that lands square on Chimaev's jaw. The impact is brutal. For the first time in his UFC career, Chimaev is staggered. His legs wobble, and for a split second, the world seems to tilt. The crowd goes silent. They've never seen Chimaev like this. Meerschaert, sensing the opening, steps in quickly, his experience shining through as he drives for the takedown. But just as he's about to secure it, Chimaev summons one last burst of energy. He fights back with everything left in him, but the damage is already done. Meerschaert's relentless pace, his unyielding control of the fight, has worn Chimaev down. Every attack from the younger fighter feels more desperate, less precise. The mental weight of the fight, the realization that his perfect streak is slipping through his fingers, begins to weigh heavily on Chimaev. Then, in an unexpected twist that catches everyone off guard, Meerschaert locks in a submission from the clinch, a rare and unorthodox move. It's a moment that leaves the audience gasping. Chimaev struggles with everything he has, but the veteran's hold is too strong, too tight. His body, fatigued from the battle, refuses to give him the strength to escape. The clock ticks down, and the referee steps in, signaling the end. Gerald Meerschaert has done it. The underdog has beaten the rising star. He raises his hand in victory, his face a mix of exhaustion and disbelief. The arena erupts in shock and awe. No one expected this. As Meerschaert stands there, his arms raised in triumph, the truth of his victory sinks in. This wasn't just a fight won on technique or strength. It was won on the foundation of years spent fighting, learning, failing, and coming back stronger. The experience, the mental fortitude, these were the true weapons that led him to victory. For Chimaev, the loss is devastating, but it's also a lesson. The perfect streak was never guaranteed. There are no shortcuts in this sport. As he stands in the octagon, bloodied and bruised, he knows this defeat will fuel him. He'll rise again, stronger, wiser. But for now, the reign of Khamzat Chimaev has ended, and the legend of Gerald Meerschaert is solidified. The crowd's energy shifts. The shock of the victory is still settling, but there's a sense of respect, a recognition that Meerschaert has proven the value of experience, of patience, and of resilience. As Chimaev exits the cage, his head down but his determination still burning, it's clear that this fight will shape both men's careers in ways they never anticipated. For Meerschaert, it's the validation of a journey that's far from over. And for Chimaev, it's the beginning of a new chapter, one that may be even more dangerous than the undefeated path he once walked. The night ends with a sense of finality, but the echoes of the fight will linger long after the lights go out. The story of Khamzat Chimaev and Gerald Meerschaert isn't just about who won or lost. It's about the unpredictable nature of the sport, the relentless pursuit of greatness, and the understanding that no matter how unstoppable you might seem, there's always someone who's ready to take you down. The world will be watching as both fighters move forward, forever linked by this unforgettable battle.